Hey everyone, it's Chris, and I've been wanting to do this tutorial for quite some time now. It's a new feature or a new app that Google has had out for about a little over a year now, I believe, and it's called Jamboards. So if you actually go into your Drive and just click New, go to More, you'll find your Jamboards right here. It's an orange and white icon. When you click on it, it'll open up a brand new jam. It'll call it Untitled Jam. And the essential idea with this is that it's like a whiteboard, right? And it's actually has many more features on the iPad, which we'll get to in a minute. But this is where I would start off with my initial creating. And our goal by the end of this is to have you be able to create something similar to this, which is going to have drag and drop features for the students. And we're just going to mess with a couple of the other features that are on the iPad, and then you'll be submitting it to them via Google Classroom. And we're going to have an added resource there for them as well. So Google Jamboard does not have every single feature that I would love for it to have on here, but it's essentially just a collaboration space for the students. So you can do a couple different things with it, and you can even, if let's say you're back in class and your students have the Jamboard open, they could actually share via email, or if they're on the iPad, which I'll show you all in a minute, they can actually share via Bluetooth, right? They can connect via Bluetooth with each other, which is another really cool feature. But we'll get into that one in another tutorial. So for now, what I wanted to kind of show you was this is on Chrome, right? So we'll just title this one Test Jam for now, just because we're going to kind of mess with the features that are here on Chrome on a laptop, and then we're going to look at what the app has to offer as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just look at the different tools that this Jamboard has when it comes to you just kind of starting off your initial creativity. So we have the basic pen tools and some different colors. You have an eraser, you have your selector tool, you can add sticky notes, choose different colors or have no color at all. You can add images. You can either search for an image, get an image out of your Drive, or if you have Google Photos, or you can just drag and drop an image from your device, which is what I'll be doing in a little bit with you all. And you have a little laser tool here, which is pretty cool. And one of the really cool things that I like about this tool is that's for the whole collaboration. You know, if you're speaking to somebody and you want to say, hey, no, look, let's focus on this area, you know, that's what that little laser tool is for. So it's pretty neat. You do have options to change the background. So if you want the students to graph something or to create some sort of a chart of some sort, you have all these different lined options and different colored features as well if you want them to get a little creative. For right now, we're going to keep it blank in the back. So those are the features here that are very basic on the Chrome web tool. And we do have other pages that we can go to. So if we were to click on page 2 or on this arrow here, it would take you to page 2 and it'll add it. Or you can click on that down arrow and it's gonna take you to all your different ones. If for whatever reason you made an extra one, you don't want it there, click delete, and then you can get right back into where you were. So that's basics on Jamboard for Chrome. Let me show you the extra tools that you get when you're using the app, which is a lot cooler. So here it is an app, obviously, that you download on an iPad, and they do have it for Android as well, of course. So for this case, in this case, we're using an iPad. So I'm going to open up the app, and I'm going to go ahead and add, let me get that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and create a new Jamboard. I'm on a different account here, so it is going to, it's not going to sync with my other one because this one's a student account that I have for a test class. A couple of the really neat features that we have when it comes to this app is this toolbar for the pen. So of course we have a marker, We have a highlighter, we even have a paint, and you have a limited amount of colors, but again, this is just something to be a little bit more collaborative, and I'm sure as Google goes and sees the need, or the need develops for this particular tool to have a lot more options, it'll start. But one of the really cool things that I like about this is the assistive drawing tools that it has. So it does have a text feature that converts it into text to typing text, so to speak. So if we start with that, so depending on how great your handwriting is or isn't, it's going to change it, right? So it all just depends on your handwriting and how clear it is. So sometimes it comes out great, sometimes it doesn't. And all you really have to do at the end is click that selector tool. You can circle and then drag it down to the bottom and trash it. So it's not the best in the whole world, of course, but I'm sure that they will be having upgrades soon. It did used to be a little bit better. For some reason, it's just not that great. I know I don't have the best handwriting in the world, but it's not that bad. But you do have a really cool shape tool here, so if you wanted to draw something out, you could. And we have a circle. If I wanted to duplicate it, I could create, oops, sorry. Let's go ahead and get out of that. Selector tool. And I could create some sort of a Venn diagram, or if I don't like any of that, just use a selector tool and trash it all. So that last one is a draw tool. So what it uses is auto draw. If you've never messed with auto draw before, I do recommend you checking it out because it is really cool. But let's go ahead and see if we can draw something. I'm going to try to draw a cat, and there we go. So it picked up a cat. I know I have horrible handwriting, or horrible drawing skills, sorry. But you get the idea, and you can pinch and drag and drop and zoom in, zoom out however you need, or whatever you want to do with it. Now, one of the really cool features about this, let me get back in, there we go. When you write something out, and let's say you want to erase it, you do have an option. If you tap on your eraser tool twice, it'll allow you to just clear everything. We don't want to do that right now. I want to show you what the eraser actually looks like. And when you go to erase it, it has that really cool effect. And I know it's not really super useful for things, but it just looks pretty cool. So that's the writing tool and the eraser tool. We've already kind of talked about the selector tool. If I wanted to select something, just circle around. I can move it around. I don't have to trash it, but it does give me that option to trash it as well. Now, again, here I have my laser tool. So as I drag it around, it just kind of points out different things for me and then goes away. This is where we have quite a few more options. This plus tool right here. We can add the sticky notes just like we can on the Chrome web tool. We can add images, we can add drive content, we can take a picture directly with our camera. So the first time when it opens it up, you might want to click OK, and then it'll open up your camera. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel there. You can go to your image library, or you can even use stickers that it has available for you. Now, it is a limited amount of stickers, but you can always make your own with that auto draw tool as well. There we go. So if I wanted to add something from my drive content, I would just click on that. It would take me directly into my, whatever my classes are, right? Or whatever I have in my drive, sorry. And I can just add them and insert it in there as well. So that's just something that you can kind of mess around with, get images, are brought in directly from your camera roll, and those are the cool other little tools that you have. So up in the top right hand corner, we have this little box and an arrow thing, and it does give you the availability to connect with somebody who's on a Jamboard via Bluetooth if you wanted to, or to connect to a screen somewhere if you wanted to. But those are features that, of course, you can mess with when you're around more people. And the 3 little meatballs here have options for you to share directly with somebody's email if you want to just copy the link, or if you wanted to save the jam or share it as a PDF or as an image, if you want to rename it, make a copy, if you want to just delete it all together or add it to your start. So you have all of those different options as well. So that's basic Jamboard. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is kind of give you all a quick little walkthrough on how to recreate something like this. So let's say you have a resource online and you want to turn it into something like this that the students can actually click and drag and drop wherever they want to, and you want to share that with them on Google Classroom. So I'm going to walk you through the basic steps that I went through to get this done. To get started, I actually found this template online and I just saved it. It was already a Google slide. It was something ready to share and use on Google Classroom. But one of the things that I've noticed is my students would have trouble, and I know that this has been a question. I'm going to go ahead and kind of zoom out a little bit. Ooh, a little bit. Calm down. I've had some teachers and I've had some students say, when they're on their phone or when they're on an iPad, dragging and dropping these images where they need to go gets a little annoying because it starts to kind of resize them, it's moving them, it's flopping them around, and it's just extremely annoying, and it's time consuming. It's taking time away from the actual lesson and from what we're being so intentional about teaching the students. So I started messing around with Jamboard and realized, hey, you know what, this one's a lot more user-friendly, including on the iPad, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit. So I said, well, I want to take this and I want to turn it into a jam. So all I really did to get the background image was I took a screenshot of it. So all I did in this case was take a real quick snippet or screenshot of just that background piece. And if you're on a Mac, you use Command-Shift-4, and then you select what you want, and it automatically goes to your computer, to the desktop. If you're on a Windows, there's a snippet tool that you can use to do the same thing. With my screenshot ready to go, all I need to do is get a new jam going, right? So I know we already have one here, but I'm going to walk you through some doing this all over again, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go back into my test jam. Give it a second. Okay, now it's loaded. So what we're going to do is we can't just take the screenshot and drag and drop it in. We actually have to insert it as an image. So remember, if we click that image icon, it allows you to just drag and drop and upload it that way. Or if your screenshot was saved to your drive, then you can do it that way also. So once we have this, I kind of resized it. And the only con that I see when it comes to using this, but not so much because it does make it so much easier, the only con that I see with this point is the fact that the kids can move it around. You can't lock it. And you don't have the option to add this as a background so that it can't be moved around. But there's still so many other pros using Jamboard in this manner than anything else. So now at this point, since it's a Google slide, let me get back over here. I have some examples. I have some images that are already set up, right? Let me zoom out. Sorry about that. Okay. So I have some examples here already. I've gotten my base, right? Which is this part right here. I have that ready to go. Now, you can either do one of two things. You can snip it or screenshot each of these individually and save them. Or if it's already on a Google slide, you can just copy and paste it over. And you're going to do this each time. Now, what I did was I aligned it to one of the little boxes and I made sure it would fit inside, and then I started piling them off to the side. And that's what I did with every single one of these. So it did not let me, just a tip, it did not let me select multiple, copy, and then paste over. So I'm trying to paste it right now and it's just not working. So you do have to do it one at a time, but if you have them side by side on the tabs, it shouldn't take too long to just kind of go from one to another. So once that's done, this is kind of what it looked like. And the only other thing I did after that was I wanted to add a sticky note and give directions. And I can rotate this however I want. I can make it a little bit larger, move it off to the side. Now on here, I can type out things, I can draw stuff, but it is a little difficult. So I do prefer to finish this up using my iPad or whatever mobile device you want to use. If you are pretty good at using your trackpad to do that, by all means go ahead and use it. Well, once I had all of that set up, this is what it looked like. Right, I finalized things on the iPad and I had everything ready to go. So once that was done, now I wanted to share it with my students, but I wanted to give them a resource first, because the resource that they were going to be using was a video from Vocabulary, and I wanted them to be able to access it. So I'm going to show you what my final classroom assignment looked like. So the final classroom assignment, of course, I had my title, I had my basic directions, and it was really just telling them to use the directions that were on the assignment itself. Each student was going to get a copy of this jam. There are other ways to share with students and have group collaboration instead of individual students doing their work. But for this case, because it's going to be the first one I'm giving the students, I wanted everybody to get used to how it works before having them collaborate. So aside from the Jamboard that I added, I also gave them an audiovisual material from Vocabulary, which gave them visual examples of the figurative language itself. So that was their visual to help out our EL kids and to make sure that they're getting those accommodations that they need. Aside from, if you were doing this in class, of course you would have up your anchor charts, the strategies posted on the wall. They'd have them in their notebooks. They would also have them, more than likely, digital access to them on Google Classroom as well. But I added this. So if I wanted to go in and add another file or a link to an image or an image that I already have saved on my drive of the strategy, I could easily add all of that there for them. But this is what my actual assignment looked like, and I'll walk you through what that looks like real quick. So I'm going to click Create Assignment, and I'm going to title it. For now, I'm just going to put Jamboard. And we'd click Add, Google Drive, and it's one of the recent ones that I'm using. So I'm going to click this one here. I'm going to click Add, and don't forget we're going to make a copy for each student. Or what we can do is students can edit files. So this is later on, once they've kind of gotten used to how Jamboard works, what you can do is say, okay, students can edit file. So in this case, there's only one student in this classroom, but this is where you would choose what other students you want to have grouped up for this particular Jamboard. But you would have to go in each time. If you have maybe 4 or 5 groups per class, you would have to go in 4 or 5 times and create this again. So as far as the student's view when it comes to checking their assignment or working with their assignment that you gave them, they would do the same thing, right? Go to their classwork, find the assignment that you gave them with the Jamboard. And this, of course, is where they would see the resource that you gave them, so they'd go watch the video first, they'd get some information, or just kind of help refresh their memory. They have their directions here, and they would come down to the bottom and click on that arrow to get to their assignment. Now, once they click on the assignment, it hasn't quite set up to where it supports Jamboard files yet, which is okay. They can click on the arrow for the very first time, open it up. It's going to ask them to sign into their Google account, and then they can mess with it online here. But what I actually recommend they do instead is, once that's done, go to their home screen, find the Jamboard app, make sure that they're logged in to their Google account, right? Make sure that this is theirs. And then they'll be able to see the one that was shared with them by you on their Google Classroom. So once they click on that, now they have all those really cool features, and there shouldn't be any lagging or any little glitches that might come out when using Safari instead. So this is where they would be able to click on that selector tool, the arrow tool, and start dragging things where they go. And if they wanted to add, you know, a second page to it, or go to a second page and add any little notes, or just kind of doodle a little bit, this is where they can do that too, if you're giving them that option. And that's it for the student view. So that's it for this tutorial. It was short, but if you are interested, next tutorial is going to be on how to create simple Google Slide activities like this, or to create more Jamboard activities. So just let me know if there's anything else that you're interested in learning, or ideas that you might have and you just kind of want to figure out how to put it all together. Let me know and we can work on a tutorial together, or we can work on something to help give you ideas. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.